The first thing I felt was pressure on my chest. Not pain, wait. Steady. Intentional. The second thing I heard was breathing that wasn't mine. Controlled. Focused. Close. I opened my eyes. And froze. She was straddling me. Knees planted on either side of my ribs, palms pressed flat against my sternum, face inches from mine. Dark hair loose, eyes locked on my chest like she was counting something invisible. For half a second, my brain refused to function. For the next half second, panic tried to take over. Then she spoke. "Don't move," she said sharply. "You just started breathing again." My name is Evan Cole, and up until that moment, my biggest concern in life was whether hiring a live-in housekeeper after moving to the countryside had been a mistake. Turns out, dying quietly in my sleep was a much bigger issue. I swallowed. "What?" She exhaled hard, shoulders sagging with relief, but she didn't get off me. "You stopped," she said. "You're breathing. Your heart rate dropped so low I couldn't find it." That cut through the confusion. What? "You have a condition," she said. "Didn't you know?" I shook my head slowly. Her hands were still on my chest. Not inappropriate. Not hesitant. Planted like anchors. "You were gray," she continued. Lips blue. I thought I was too late. My mouth went dry. "So why are you?" "Keeping pressure," she interrupted. "Your rhythm is unstable. If I move too fast, you could crash again." That's when I noticed the smell of antiseptic, and the defibrillator pads on my chest, and the fact that my bedroom looked like an emergency ward. Her name was Lena. I'd hired her 3 days earlier through a quiet referral agency, efficient, professional, highly recommended. No personal details. No drama. She was supposed to cook, clean, and keep the old house from collapsing around me while I worked remotely. She was not supposed to save my life. "I woke up early," she said calmly, still straddling me, still focused. "You didn't answer when I knocked. Your door was unlocked." I tried to laugh. Nothing came out. "I checked your pulse," she continued. "There wasn't one." That did it. Fear finally hit. I stared at the ceiling, suddenly very aware of how thin the line was between awake and gone. "How long?" I whispered. She glanced at a small timer on the nightstand. 43 seconds, she said. "Long enough." 3. When she finally eased off me, my body felt hollow, like someone had scooped something essential out and forgotten to put it back. She helped me sit up slowly, one hand braced against my back, the other still hovering near my chest in case something went wrong. "You need a hospital," she said. I nodded. "Ambulance is on the way," she added. "I called as soon as your heart stabilized." I looked at her properly then. Mid-30s. Athletic without trying. Eyes sharp but tired in a way that spoke of long nights and worse memories. "You're trained," I said. She hesitated. "Yes." That pause said everything. At the hospital, they called it undiagnosed nocturnal arrhythmia. A polite way of saying your heart sometimes forgets its job. If Lena hadn't been there. The doctor didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. 5. She didn't come back to the house that night. I assumed she'd quit. Most people would. I wouldn't have blamed her. But the next morning, I heard movement downstairs. Soft footsteps. The clink of a mug. The smell of coffee. She was in the kitchen like nothing had happened. "You should be resting," she said, sliding a cup toward me. "No caffeine." "Of course," I said weakly. "Because dying wasn't enough." A ghost of a smile crossed her face. "Not funny," she said. Then, more quietly, "But I'm glad you're still here." 6. We didn't talk about what she'd done. Not at first. But some things sit in the air until you acknowledge them. "I didn't know you had medical training," I said finally. She leaned against the counter. "I used to be a combat medic," she said. "Search and rescue. Disaster zones." That explained the calm. "And now?" I asked. "Now I prefer houses that don't explode," she said. I nodded slowly. "Why stay?" I asked. "After everything." She met my eyes. Because you didn't wake up angry, she said. Or embarrassed. You woke up listening. I didn't know what to say to that. 7. The next weeks were different. Not awkward. Careful. She reminded me to take my medication. Watched for signs I would never have noticed. Quietly rearranged the house so help was always within reach. Once, I caught her standing in the hallway at night, listening. Bad dreams? I asked. She shook her head. Old habits, she said. Checking the living. That stayed with me. One evening, I finally asked the question that had been haunting me. When I woke up, I said, you were already positioned. Like you knew exactly what to do. She didn't answer right away. When you've lost people, she said slowly, you learn how little time matters. Seconds are everything. She looked down at her hands. I lost someone because I hesitated once. I didn't push. I didn't need to. 9. Life didn't snap back to normal. It softened. Slowed. I started noticing things. Sunlight through old windows, the quiet competence in the way she moved, how safety felt different when someone had already proven they would act. One night, weeks later, I woke from a nightmare, heart racing. Before panic could take hold, the door opened. She was there. Not on top of me. Just standing guard. You okay? She asked. I nodded. Yeah, I said. Thanks. She hesitated, then said something I didn't expect. You don't scare me, she said. Fragile doesn't mean weak. I swallowed. Neither does caring, I replied. She smiled then. Fully. For the first time. 10. Sometimes people misunderstand stories like this. They expect something dramatic. Scandalous. Romantic in the obvious way. But the truth is quieter. When I woke up with her on top of me, it wasn't desire. It was survival. It was skill and fear and responsibility colliding in one moment that changed both our lives. She wasn't crossing a line. She was holding one. And because of that, I got to wake up again. The end.